hear like music in the background because there's like tailgating going on outside and I can vaguely hear it, but I'm not sure if it's like getting picked up on the mic.
Part of me wishes I heard it because it'd be like fun little background music, but I do not.
Okay, good.
Hello,
Hello.
welcome to Televised, a TV movie story. I'm Eliza, and that's Gordon.
It
And
is. Hi, I'm Gordon, and that's Eliza.
no, no, it's not.
Oh
How
no.
fucking dare you
Oh
make
no.
such gross assumptions about who
Oh,
I am?
oh no.
I'm kidding. It's
Good.
just a silly little joke.
It's the podcast. Hi, everybody.
Gordon, do you want to introduce what movie we're watching and why you put it on your disgusting list?
Yes. Off to a weird energy on this episode. So this week we are talking about Dark Knight of the Scarecrow from 1981, which I'm my first familiarity with it was some probably like Facebook post or whatever forever ago of like here's these like movies that like nightmare fuel for a generation of kids that saw it on TV, and it was a little write up about this movie accompanied by that shot when they first find Bubba in the Scarecrow, and you can see
Hmm.
his eyes coming out through the
Uh-huh.
Scarecrow mask, and it's a pretty like effectively creepy shot, and that alone like sort of piqued my interest for this movie in the back of my head all this time because like I wanted to know what was so scary for all those kids, and I mean we'll talk about it.
Golly gee, we sure found out.
We sure did. That's the point of the podcast. But yeah, so that was why this movie ended up on my list because it just seemed interesting, and I was very excited when you picked it because I was happy to have an excuse to finally check this out. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on this movie ultimately.
So I let's get into just like the basic rundown with the cast and everything that you have
Yeah,
there, and then we'll go further to what I actually thought of this whole experience.
right on. Yeah. So we are talking about again Dark Knight of the Scarecrow from 1981, directed by Frank DeFelitta, written by J.D. Feigelson, starring Charles Durning, Robert F. Lyons, Claude Earl Jones, Lane Smith, Tanya Crow, Larry Drake, and Jocelyn Brando. Broadcast October 24th, 1981 on CBS, so right in time for Halloween, opposite an episode of The Love Boat and something called the Nashville Palace, which I couldn't figure out what that was exactly. It seemed like some sort of a country music thing, but I that was really as much as I was able to figure out what that was. But yeah, that's the those are the basics. That's the rundown.
Yeah, so I went into this just so I when I saw on your list, I just saw, oh, fun little horror movie. And I opened the page, I saw Charles Durning, I saw 80s, and I was like, oh boy, this seems fun. And so I was like, let's watch this. This is gonna be fun. And so let's go with the brief emotional journey I had over the course of this movie. And
Yeah, it's an odd one in terms of the stuff it has in there, just like content wise.
like I won't into any spoilers this early, but I'll say for the basics, first off, the movie starts off with Bubba and the little girl just hanging out, and first things first, it's a movie about um I think the proper term is intellectually disabled person. Uh and made in the early 80s, it's not a very good portrayal. It feels
Not
very,
at all.
but it's only like 10 minutes with him because he dies quickly after, and it is incredibly upsetting to watch. It like genuinely, I do not know how this was allowed to air on TV as is because I was genuinely like so heartbroken watching this man
This is an
die.
upsetting movie.
And then after that, like, and also going into the trial with the mom reacting, and also, of course, like the child getting hurt and stuff, like all of that is just so rough to sit through. But genuinely, like it does its job well because after that, you just hate the fucking guy so much, and you. are just waiting for them to get their fucking comeuppance, especially Charles fucking Durning
Especially Charles
in his
Durning is
stupid fucking postman uniform, which normally I'm a big fan of our boys in blue, the United States Postal Service. But, this movie just decided to say fuck the postman and just like this we hate our postal service people for these 90 minutes. It's a goddamn it, Charles Durning does a great job of making you hate this skeevy fucking guy.
yeah.
And and that's where you're at for most of the movie. It borders between like genuine tension, like just like wondering where this is going next, about wondering what the fuck this weird scarecrow's about, and just being like, oh God, I want to see these guys die. And then that ending is just perfect.
Yeah. It's a real good like it takes a while for this to ultimately become a horror movie. It feels like
Mhm.
it's a for a good while you could be tricked into thinking this is just like a straight like crime drama about this small town like vigilante murder gone wrong
Mhm.
and the fallout from that like among the community. So if you don't know going into it that this is a horror movie called Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, that turn almost feels out of left field because it takes a while to get to be that, but then once it is that, it really takes off running in that direction and is has some pretty great thrilling sequences, I will say.
Mhm.
Like the one with Lane Smith in his barn is really well executed.
Mhm.
No pun intended.
I
Uh,
yeah. I I
like
re I really love what's the fucking guy's name? The next one to get
it's like
Philby
Philby,
in the
yeah.
fucking field where that's just like as he walks up to the scarecrow. Like I'm not sure if this movie is well shot or if it's just a fucking wheat field or whatever, but it looks so gorgeous and so threatening and ominous.
Yeah, this is our best looking movie that we've done so far. Yeah.
Let me pull up that list.
Because
Because we
like I guess maybe Gia, but even then not really. Like a lot
Gia
of
looked
them
good.
Gia looked good, but this movie looks like really good. This like they really get that like Southern Gothic like autumnal vibe really well. Uh,
Yeah, like I think like Gia might just have like a bigger budget, more like ability to put effort into its shot composition, but like Dark Knight of Scarecrow makes a lot with what it has.
yeah, no, this is a really uh, I've, good movie.
Good,
Ultimately, this is a
good
good
movie.
movie. One of the best we've done so far of the 11 on that list. Like this is probably a top three for me, honestly, at this
It
point. Like
I
it just really comes together well.
at this point, like I feel like I should not say like where my rankings end up because I feel like there's going to be a point where it's like we want to like reveal and it's like I want to keep
Yeah.
this kind of shrouded in mystery a little bit, but it's definitely a good movie, definitely top half, definitely better than Big Dreams and Broken Hearts, the Dottie West story,
Well, yeah, everything we've done is other than like Liz and Dick.
other than Listen Dick,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, no, to like run down the more like beat by beat plot of this movie, at least for the first half. 'Cause it
Yeah,
unfolds
like this is
in some
important to get down.
yes, yeah. So like you said, it starts with Bubba and Mary Lee out in the field, and Charles Durning is spying on them in some ways that have some implications later on that are the movie doesn't really, harp on in a way. I was glad. I was glad it didn't go in real deep in that
Yeah,
character psychosis or whatever. But so he's tense about this, and there's dialogue that seems to imply they've had to chase Bubba off for other things in the past that we don't really know about.
yeah,
And Mary Lee ends up sneaking into some neighbor's yard to admire their fountain and garden gnomes, and gets mauled by a dog. And we think she's dead. And so Charles Durning gets a couple other guys together and they go chase out after Bubba. His mom tells him to go hide in a scarecrow in the field, and they go after him and find him in the scarecrow, and they execute him by firing squad, essentially, and immediately find out that actually Mary Lee is not dead, and she uh, uh, told everyone that, Bubba saved her life. And so now they have some sort of guilty conscience for a little bit about murdering him, but they very quickly come to justify it to themselves. And
Hmm.
they get off in court because the judge
There's no
one of one
evidence.
of the least courtroom scenes I've seen in a movie. Like the fact that the judge just outright says to the lawyer, "I don't think you have a case against them." Just like that's not very
Well,
impartial. That's not how
it's
this.
this
But
is
also like,
this is like the pre-hearing where it's like, is this worth taking to trial? I think it's not
yeah,
like the least courty thing. It's like,
no. But even still, the lawyers are just like shouting at each other.
yeah, that
It's
part's rough.
Yeah, it's very haphazard thrown together. But so everyone they all get acquitted or whatever of murder because Charles Durning propped up a pitchfork in his hand so they could claim self-defense. And then following this, uh, one of them uh, sees that scarecrow that Bubba was hiding in propped up in his field, and they all get paranoid except Charles Durning, who's adamant that someone's behind this. It's either the defense attorney or it's Bubba's mom or eventually the little kid he thinks is doing it.
Hmm.
Uh, but things go from there, and eventually these four men get killed off one by one by the foreboding scarecrow, or maybe somebody pulling a prank or whatever, or maybe something else. Maybe it's a secret third thing
Hmm.
in some cases. But yeah, it's a neat little like way to format your slasher movie essentially. Like
Yeah.
the structure of the story is compelling.
Yeah,
And
like it's just this little revenge movie kind of thing where it's like you got these characters, you set them up as like these are bad people, and you want to see them get their comeuppance, and boy, do they.
they sure do. In some pretty horrific deaths, honestly. That like I would have liked to see more, but also I know you have budget constraints and you're also like purposefully hiding whether or not it's like a possessed scarecrow doing this or if it's somebody else. But like your movie's called Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and spoiler alert, it is a possessed scarecrow.
Yeah.
Just show your scarecrow. Have your scarecrow be your slasher. Like, don't wait until the final shots of the movie to show the scarecrow walking around possessed by Bubba's soul. Like, come on now. Put the
Hmm.
scarecrow like for real in your movie.
Yeah, and also it's like I know part of it must also be just kind of like, censors and stuff, just like they want to build up the suspense, and then it's like when you ha have the murder seeds, it's like you can't really show too much because it's a TV movie. Even if it is like when I watched it on Tubi, it said TVMA, which I'm not sure
Yeah.
that was the original rating, might have been. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't look into that. But like at the very least, you can throw in a scarecrow jump scare of like Lane Smith up in his hayloft sees the scarecrow and that's what scares him over the edge into his wood chipper. Or like linger more on the shot where Philby sees the scarecrow in his house and he runs out to his car. Like
Hmm.
show like I would have liked to have seen more of the scarecrow because it's a neat design. The like
Yeah.
the sack with just the holes cut out for the eyes and mouth and just like empty black behind that is it's effectively creepy. It's a good looking monster design that it feels like they don't have enough confidence in it ultimately. It feels like they are hiding it because they don't know if it's like going to be effectively creepy. And it is. It
Hmm.
like holds up even at the end when it has like its uplifting moment where it hands out the flower to Mary Lee and they like get to play again. Like it's still a creepy looking scarecrow
Yeah.
and I wanted to see more of it.
I think that moment is meant to be a little creepy. Like they have like
Oh,
this
it
creepy
definitely
music
is,
over
but
it, but
it's like creepy, but in a light way, in a way that like, oh, that's nice. They get
yeah,
to be friends again.
yeah, it's like the
Uh,
quote unquote good guys won in the end. It's like the murder scarecrow reunites with the little girl and everything.
exactly.
Mhm.
No, if I had one major gripe with the movie, it would be that we don't get enough Scarecrow in the movie called Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. But like,
Yeah.
even that is more nitpicky. Like those scenes that I met, the Lane Smith and what's the actor that plays that
Oh,
one? Is that Claude
um,
Earl Jones? Yeah. Um,
yeah.
those two like panicking as tension builds, as like they're not sure, like, is this, some guy, is it the lawyer like out to get me, or is this like the ghost of Bubba, or am I just like, is like the night playing tricks on me? Uh, those are really well done. I really like the shot where Lane Smith is like peering up into the hayloft and he's like lit from below by like the lamps downstairs and his
Mhm.
flashlight, and it's like like once this movie becomes a horror movie in the last half of it, it is really good at building the tension and delivering on that.
Mhm. Like it, God, it. I kind of want to watch it again just because it just does its shtick so well.
Yeah.
Uh, and God, I still just think about how like I was just looking through the IMDb trivia just now just to be like, oh, I forgot to look at it earlier, so it's like, was there anything good in here? And it's like Charles Durning doesn't wear anything but his postman outfit this entire movie. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're right, he
It
doesn't.
it's a good character beat for him. It's a good like, this man takes his job very seriously, but also not like he's like looking through some guy's boudoir magazine. Like he is a piece of shit through and through, but he's, hiding behind his import and his like, oh, I have a job, I have a purpose. And it like, if you did get him at any point in his regular clothes, even when he's like having breakfast with those old people,
Yeah, with
like
Large
he,
Marge from Pee-wee's Big
oh,
Adventure.
is it? Oh, I didn't clock that.
Yes, I
Oh,
saw
hell
her.
yeah.
It's like, oh my God, is that her? And I went to double check, and it's like, yeah, it was her.
Oh, I totally didn't clock that. But like it really just like goes a long way to making him a real piece of shit, because he is so like, proud of this in a way that is like kind of sickening of like, yeah, it's a job. Like you're get over yourself. But and that sort of like, ties in with his sense of vigilante justice, that he needs to be the one to go out and kill this guy. Like
Hmm.
he has a job, god damn it, and he's gonna do it, whether it works or not. He's gonna, at the end, kill the other guy with his shovel for the sake of covering up, because he, you know, against all, like, it's him against the world at this point. And if that means killing his friend who has gone crazy, like that's a sacrifice he's willing to make,
Hmm.
because he's just looking out for himself, because he's important. And
Yeah, yeah,
great performance from Turning, just
yeah.
like all-time piece of shit.
Like
And
th this is why we ended up like accidentally doing a double Durning because we love a good dose of Durning
yeah,
on our podcasts.
good dose of double Durning.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, one thing, when he kills the other guy with the shovel, when I was watching that scene, I thought it was him realizing that like it couldn't be like Bubba like was still alive, and so like it was him kind of like the last part of Charles Durning snapped, and so it's just like who else could he was just frantically searching like who else could this
it
be, and he
could,
thought
yeah.
it might be this fucking guy who's been with me this whole time. He's trying to fuck me up, and so he's just like I gotta just get rid of this loose end, and
I
so
could see it. I read it more as like, because that guy, like, what they're doing is they've dug up Bubba's grave to see if it's like him, if he's still in there. And that guy is the one, like, Durning sends him into the grave to go open the casket, and he, sees Bubba's dead body and like has a mental breakdown and starts screaming and like panicking and just like blubbering all and like very loud and like no, we killed him, like we I was there. And I feel like it's like, oh well, now he's a liability because he has snapped and he is going to tell someone what we did.
Hmm.
And so I have to kill him for that to save my own ass because he's going to tell somebody. And it's more important that I don't go to jail than it is for this guy to continue living. So I'm going to murder him and bury him in this grave and like, you know, leave that for my own hide. But
Hmm.
like, he's again
Just
really good at playing this off. The scene where he shows up at Jocelyn Brando's house,
oh
because he's
yeah.
like sneaking. Like, I mean, there's a few times when he shows up there, but the one where he like is sneaking around trying to find Mary Lee, trying to like figure out if she's the one that's been if Jocelyn Brando is the one that's been setting up the scarecrows, and then is like, oh, and she tells him to get off her property, and he goes, oh, I've got a package for you. I'm just doing my job. I couldn't leave it in the box. You got to sign for it. And he's just like, it's that like Charles Durning can be very charismatic and very charming and very fun in these roles that he's played. And like to weaponize that here as just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. I'm just a simple postman delivering your package. Also, I murdered your son, and I'm like very soon about to accidentally murder you. So deal with that, bitch, is pretty much how he plays those scenes, and it's really hateable, but really watchable.
Yeah, it like I'm just quickly looking through like the movies I've seen him in, and it's like I think this is like the most detestable. Like he plays
Yeah,
villains all the time. It's like, but in something like something we talked about before, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, he's a very charming kind of unlikable, or where it's like you're just supposed he's just having a good time, and but like
the
this is
Muppet movie also, like he's
yeah,
I don't think I've seen him play a villain in anything like dramatic before. Because
like
a lot of like, to be or not to be, he's a Nazi, but he's a bumbling Nazi.
it's
Like,
like he's in Dog Day Afternoon, and
but
it's
he's like the cop in that. He's like the cop that is sympathetic to Sonny on the outside. Like he is the Sting. He's like the cop that's going after them, but he's also like not really on the take, and he's like Robert Shaw's the real big bad of that movie.
Mhm.
Like yeah, I can't think of anything where I've seen him get to be like really this just like out and out despicable. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we've used that word, but like it is, and also just like great name also for that
Yeah.
character, Otis
Otis P.
Hazelrigg
Hazelrigg.
is great. It
Ah,
feels very just like literary.
he's a
So,
fucking
yeah,
guy.
this
Just
fucking
fucking kick
guy.
his ass.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, we don't have to ultimately by the end because
true,
he
true.
gets
Like he,
chased by a ghostly tractor into running himself through with his own pitchfork that's mounted on the scarecrow. And he just,
mhm.
the way he just sort of backs up and looks at his stomach and is like, the look on his face of like, ah, shit, well, you got me, is really fun as he just collapses and dies.
Yeah. And I think like the first moment I really knew this was going to be great is like, well, first like that shot you talked about before with uh when you first see Bubba looking through the scarecrow
It's
and Charles
so
Durning looking
fucking
back.
creepy,
But then
that shot.
But then after the whole firing squad moment where they realize what's happened and Charles Durning just wordlessly picks up that pitchfork and puts it in his hand. It like that moment is just like, oh, this is gonna be a good fucking movie.
Yeah. And then it stays on like because the other thing about that point is like it's not just that it be like stays on that mode. It also like we no lo like you no longer have to deal with the Bubba performance, which is
Yeah.
a real uncomfortable for the first portion of the movie, and then after that you're like, obviously you don't want Bubba to die. He's a sweet guy, but like at least we're spared having to watch that not especially
Yeah. let's
Great.
talk about it for just a little bit because like when I was watching that, I I just felt like I had to look up the actor. Just like, is did this guy make a career out of this thing? And oh boy, did he! He was apparently on L.A. Law and won 2 Emmys for that similar kind of performance. And I
Oh boy.
sent you like the only clip I could really
Oh
find
yeah,
on
I
YouTube.
I was gonna watch that and I forgot. I'm
But
sorry.
it's just the clip is just a clip of the character like he join ends up getting convinced to join a cult or whatever where it's like he has to pay them like $50 a month or whatever to not go to hell or it's like so he can go to heaven when he dies. It's like
Oh,
he's been swindled, and of course the kind lawyer has to like sit down with him and use the R slur, just like, hey, I'm sorry, you are, oh, and it's like it is the most 90s way to approach this topic. And it's like I was just thinking like this makes me thankful for like Rain Man and Forrest Gump for being more grounded, which is
ish.
not something we most people really say about Rain Man or Forrest Gump nowadays. It's
Yeah.
it's rough, but like we've been saying, it gets through it pretty quickly. We can move on to the actual good parts of this movie.
Yeah.
It's just
He's also Dr. Giggles from Dr. Giggles.
I have no idea what fucking Dr. Giggles is.
It's like a slasher movie based on a Dark Horse comic, I think.
I I've apparently seen like 3 movies with this guy in it. One is this, another one is Dark Man, and another one is The Karate Kid, where he plays Yahoo number one.
Oh, well, there you go. I apparently have also seen him in The Karate Kid, and not Darkman.
You should watch Dark Man. It's a
I
pretty
should. I want to. I
I
just haven't gotten around
actually
to it.
I just realized
Who?
like the two like top billed actors in this movie both starred in I never mind. I guess not. Like Charles Durning was in Hudsucker Proxy, and I for a moment I thought that was a Sam Raimi movie, but no, he was just involved with it. But it's a
Yeah,
Torn Brothers movie. Never mind.
It's Sam Raimi adjacent. You got
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell in there. You got, I think he maybe was a writer on it.
yeah. He was involved with it, but
Yeah,
it's not like a
yeah,
Sam Raimi movie.
yeah. He didn't direct it, obviously. But yeah. Back to good stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, the like again, it takes a good while for this to become a horror movie, and I was waiting for it to happen. I was waiting for like, okay, when is this going to get like actually creepy? Because you've had, there was the shot that we mentioned with
Yeah,
the
the whole stuff
eyes.
at the beginning and everything.
Yes, and there was like some pretty good like the score for this is good. There's some
Hmm.
good like tension building score, but like I was waiting and waiting for like when are we gonna get into like horror movie mode? And the scene where Lane Smith is working on his wood chipper, which like I mean it's a real Chekhov's wood chipper or whatever, or like thresher or whatever that is.
Hmm.
And he's like out in his driveway working on that, and his wife comes up to him and asks him if he started planting yet. And he's like, "No, what do you mean? I never start planting them around this time of year." And she goes, "Well, yeah, I didn't think so, but if you're not planting, why would you put up a scarecrow?" And it's just the way he just sort of like freezes and looks out into the field, and you see the scarecrow way off in the distance. That's like it's freaky. It's a really effective way because like that scene is building to something. You know that like that there's a reason she's asking if he started planting. There's a reason why we're focusing on this scene. But the way that pulls off that uh, uh, drop, the escalation of the story at that point is really good.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I'm running out of things to say about this movie where it's
Oh,
just like
I've still
different
got a good handful of
adjectives.
notes. Yeah.
No, it's like I
Oh yeah.
have notes, but I just mean it's just like it's hard to find more at synonyms of wow, that was really good.
It's really effective it's a really good slow burn of
Hmm.
a horror movie that like takes its time. And by the again, I like was kind of, looking at my watch of like how long is it going to take for this to become a horror movie. At first, I was kind of impatient with it, but then once it does actually build to it, it like it all sort of works
Hmm.
together of like, oh no, that like was necessary table setting, story building in order to get to this being a horror movie that's not just a slasher. Because this is also like we're not quite in slasher like oversaturation at this
Yeah.
point. Because Friday the
Like,
13th was the year before.
yeah.
Obviously, you know, you'd had Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like Black Christmas and everything. But like this is still pre like Nightmare on Elm Street and
Yeah, it
uh
hasn't
Child's Play.
dominated yet.
Yes, there's still like you know, look at the horror movies of 1981. Otherwise, it's The Evil Dead and American Werewolf in London and The Fog. And like there's still a proliferation of different kinds of horror that you're doing that you're able to sort of have something like this that you know wasn't originally conceived of as a TV movie. It was written as just a regular theatrical like independent horror movie that then CBS bought the script to and uh, uh, turned into this movie, obviously. But like it fits in with that vibe of like post Halloween, but still pre like the Freddy Krueger turning horror into like quippy slasher stuff. Like
Hmm.
this is still in My Bloody Valentine is also this year, I think, or maybe the year before. Like, yeah, well, I'm pulling up Letterbox now. What other 81? Halloween 2 is this year. Scanners, yeah, My Bloody Valentine. The Howling, Friday the 13th Part 2. Good year for horror. Good, interesting
Yeah.
year for horror movies. Uh,
Honestly, now I'm thinking about it, like, this is probably in the running for like my favorite horror movie this year. Like,
oh,
I-
Possession also is
oh
a,
yeah.
a big one.
But that's a
That
whole
yeah, that's its own. Yeah, but like I
in
mean, no, this absolutely stacks up to like American Werewolf and the first Evil Dead and everything.
yeah.
Scanners also in this year. Um, man,
God.
good year for horror.
Another thing I want to bring up about this movie, though, that we touched on a little bit, but it has a good sense of humor. Like
Yeah,
it makes sure that you don't get like too bogged down in like this tension. Like it doesn't want you like it still has a bit of that 80s cheese. Like first of all, like Charles Durning still has ways to like make you kind of like we mentioned it briefly, but the shot of like the minute long scene of him just looking at the porno mag, it's
yeah.
like I don't know why that's there, but it just like adds
It's just
so
to make him
much
sleazy. It's just to make him a real piece of shit.
and it
Because
just
like it's not just that he's looking through a porno mag, and it's not just that he's looking through a porno mag on the job. It's that it's someone else's mail.
yeah.
That he is sitting there in his mail truck by their mailbox, like opening up the centerfold. Like it's real because like it's because he's this so self-righteous and so like holier than thou about all this, but he's like by far just like the worst guy, period, just like the worst guy.
Hmm.
One of my favorite like comedy beats in this movie is like literal tension breaker where we have that whole scene of Lane Smith in his barn.
Hmm.
And he eventually what happens is he's up in the hayloft and like the thresher below gets turned on out of nowhere and something sort of like knocks him off of the ledge and he like grabs onto a light and starts swinging from that and then that falls and he falls into the thresher and gets threshed, I guess. And immediate cut to Charles Durning at breakfast and the lady there dropping a whole big glob of red jam preserves onto his plate. Like, hey, there you go. That's kind of like Lane Smith's mangled body. Which, by the way, when they cut back to the barn and they're taking him out on a stretcher, I'm sorry, that's not happening. He's in chunks.
Hmm.
He's a fine mist of Lane Smith sprayed over that interior of that barn. Like, come on, he's getting Steve Buscemi in that
Yeah,
in that
he's
big
he's
old thing.
I think there might be hope where it's like he clogs it up or whatever. It's I don't know,
I
man.
think he's getting threshed. I think he's getting
I mean,
fully.
someone turned it off, so
But it was Bubba did it. Bubba turned it off.
yeah, it's like Bubba might have been nice to leave like
I
some
don't think
money.
so.
I
I think he's a fine mist of Lane Smith in that barn.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, there you go.
I
Mist,
just like I,
Misted Smith goes to Washington.
that's good.
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Oh
God,
man.
what else?
Oh, there was a line. This is when the vigilante mob first goes over to Bubba's mom's house looking for Bubba after he
Oh
runs
yeah.
off, and it's like she's just shouting at them, and I really like one line she says. It's like Charles Durning says something like we're on
Official
official
business.
business,
Yeah.
and she says the only thing official you've ever done is lick stamps, and I was like, get his fucking
Yeah.
ass.
Because that's the other thing. Like a lesser version of this script that is more formulaic, he's a cop. And to make him like he doesn't even have power, but he still like holds himself with the kind of like self-importance that he does. It like it's a real good sizing down that like no, he's just the mailman. Like this dude is just it can't be overstated how much of the worst he is at everything, and it's so good. Um,
And yeah, she gets a lot of great lines in this movie.
she's really good in this.
And yeah, it like no wonder she like I looked her up because, like just to see like what else she's in because she is like a long she has a really long career, but I just kind of felt bad like when I looked her up on Google. It's like it says actress and Marlon Brando's sister. It's like I would feel bad if like I had my own career, but I was still referred to as my brother's sister, even
I,
though of course he is, Marlon
Marlon, it
fucking
is
Brando.
Marlon Brando, so like there's some degree of leeway there, but like yeah, no, that is a shame. But no, she's real good here. I like it's not really, performance from her, but when she's in her little cabin there at the near the end where she, sets some tea on the stove and then goes to sit down and then Durning pops up behind her and just like scares her to death. It's
Hmm.
good little beat. And then he freaks out about that. And so again, rather than like feel any remorse or anything about what he's done, he takes the kettle off and leaves the gas stove on and then blows up that cabin in like a big old mushroom cloud, which was fun. Just like that. I don't think that's quite how that would go down. I mean, I've never seen a house explode, but I don't imagine it would be that instantaneous and also huge. But you never know.
You never know. Like maybe we gotta do a Mythbusters on this thing. Let's blow up a barn.
Let's blow up a house. Let's do it. We'll put a recently deceased Jocelyn Brando in there, and we'll blow it up.
Yeah,
Um,
like donate to our Patreon, and if we hit a certain milestone, we will blow up a house.
yes.
Might be
Um,
yours. Volunteer your house
it might
today.
be. Um, Another just like great scene of making Durning just like so vile is when he goes to the Halloween party and like confronts Mary Lee in the hallway, like trying to get her to confess to that Mrs. What's her name? What's
I
the
it's right
Ritter,
here,
Mrs. Ritter.
Miss Ritter.
That she's the one setting up the scarecrows and she's the one trying to scare them. Which like that scene immediately follows a scene where he goes and talks to Mrs. Ritter and she's like, I know why you're like watching that girl. I know what your intentions are there. And it's like, oh, this is another dimension to this character that we're immediately seeing him corner her in like an empty hallway in her school after school hours. That's not great. That's not good. But it just like it really just reinforces like how much of a scumbag this guy is that he will go to no end to like what is he ultimately trying to do? Like what is he trying to make happen here? I don't
I
really
I
know.
he's just losing his mind, and it's just like
Yeah.
he and it's like I don't know like why he thinks he would trust her at all, but like or she would
Why?
trust
Yeah.
him at all. Oh, and it's just like but and then it's like the guy
It's
has come in, it's like shouldn't you get back to the party?
it's a scene you need in the movie for him to be told directly that Bubba is talking to her, so that then he can like further spiral and refuse to believe and also very much believe that it's ghost stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um,
It is a really like big turning point for the movie and for like Durning's character. Just
it's a
making
turning point, you could say.
God fucking damn it, Corey.
Hey, hey, I'm sorry you set that one up too well. Um,
I felt good about fucking Misted Smith goes to Washington, but that felt worse. I don't know why.
it was worse. But now I want to see Charles Durning starring in The Turning Point as like the Shirley MacLaine role. Just
Oh, but who would be Anne Bancroft?
still Anne Bancroft. It's
Like
just and Charles Durning.
uh,
We know he's a dancer. He was like a dance instructor. That's how
yeah,
he got
we
Best Little
do know
Whorehouse.
that. I
Um,
need to see him do ballet now.
I would love to see
You know,
more of his like
like
dancing stuff.
there is there is at least one TV movie we have on our list that I think is even on my priority list that is like a movie where he dances. I
Love that.
don't know what it is, but it has another big actress in it. I'm looking through the list of stuff here,
Okay,
just
well, you
trying to
go
find
looking
it.
for that. I want to
Yeah, you go
talk
ahead, talk.
briefly about the Philby death scene, which is not quite to the heights of Lane Smith falling into his thresher and just that whole sequence of him sort of walking through his barn, which is really well done. But like it's a good little set piece that has a few different beats to it because now he's gotten the Scarecrow up in his field, and his hogs are going absolutely crazy about it. And he's out one night and he goes and confronts the it's just the cross. The Scarecrow is gone off it, but he like goes and kicks it down. Or was that Lane Smith? Either way. But he's like out in the field, freaking out, and he's going back to his house and he hears like a clanging noise around a corner. He
Mhm.
goes after it, and it's just like a chain blowing in the wind, and he has a sigh of relief, and then something catches his eye, and it's the light in his house goes off, and there's like a figure that disappears into the house, and he goes into his car, and the car won't start, and he gets chased into some door that he shuts behind him, and he's taking a breath, and he's relaxing. He got away. And then he realizes he's been chased into his own grain silo that is now locked behind him. And Bubba, turns on the grain like escalator or whatever and drowns him in his own grain silo. And the shot of his hand sticking out through the grain with the flashlight next to it, uh, really effective. Really
Mhm.
like that is a irrational fear of mine to some degree because like that'll happen if you're ever for whatever reason in a grain silo and you like take a wrong step. It takes seconds, like literal seconds, for you to get completely subsumed, and there is no way to escape. Like physically you cannot escape once you have been sucked into the grain,
Mhm.
and you will just die, and that freaks me out. That really freaks me out.
I mean it's a good thing you will never be in that
I know
situation.
that's what makes it an irrational fear. But it like just the thought of that. Also, speaking of irrational fears, this movie
Killer Scarecrow.
just yes, oh yeah, no, genuinely. Like when I was a kid, this is sort of a compound story of things that freaked me out. There was because like the neighborhood where I grew up is very big on Halloween. Washington Irving lived there for some while. It's called Irvington, so like it is very like in on the Halloween vibe, and so there's like a lot of Halloween festivals and stuff. And there was one that I was at when I was probably like no older than 6 because I know like I can place it at a time where my parents weren't divorced yet and they divorced when I was like 6. So I would have been young. And there was this story that they told that I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but the abridged version is these three farmers live on a farm and they put up a scarecrow that looks freaky. And they sort of each individually start getting paranoid that the scarecrow is getting moved closer to the house every night, but they just think it's one of the other brothers. So they don't confront that until eventually they do, and they realize none of them are doing it, and so they bring it inside. And when it's inside, it's like making noises. And so they put it back out. And the end of the story, they're all out drinking in the middle of the night, and it starts raining really hard, and they can't walk back. So they send one of them to go home to get a car, and hours pass, and the brother doesn't come back. So they go back to the house eventually, and they see the scarecrow dancing on the top of the roof, wearing that brother's skin, and that freaked
Oh,
me out as a kid, understandably. Uh, not just because of the story, but also because we had a scarecrow. Just like we didn't have props or anything, we just had like a scarecrow setup that I think my dad made that was legitimately really freaky. It was like, a sack head that was like a square and big, completely circular eyes that in my memory like had very small, just like dot pupils, and I think like red circles around them. And then like the what's the animation? The Steven Universe style smile where it's a big like pill with just like lines for teeth,
mhm.
but not smiling, just like out flat and rounded and just sort of like grimacing, and it had like yarn for hair, and that like freaked me out, and I made them put it away. But I can like still very clearly visualize that particular scarecrow face. So yeah, that's my irrational scarecrow fear
So
to tie into this.
that's why you were so affected by this.
I mean, like,
I mean, this
ultimately,
is
not
still a
really.
great movie.
Yeah, no,
This,
I don't like continue to have a fear of scarecrows. I think scarecrows are neat. But just like that did remind me, especially with, the fact that my intro to this movie was childhood fears relative to the movie. Probably more so because of the shot with the eyes than any of the actual like horror stuff later on in the movie.
mhm.
Because because it's a freaky shot to me now as like an adult that I can imagine kids are going to be really freaked out by, especially after just seeing a kid their own age get mauled
Brutalized
to
by a
death.
dog.
Yeah. Like we don't see it, obviously. We just see her scream and you see the dog jump after her and you hear noises off screen. But like you see Bubba carrying her bloodied corpse that, not a corpse, but we don't know that yet. Like I totally get why this freaked out kids in 1981.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this is absolutely like children nightmare fuel.
Oh,
And
genuinely.
I want to share a little story of like when I was watching this. So how did you watch the movie, first of all? Like, what platform did you watch it
On Tubi.
on? Okay, I also watched it on Tubi, and Tubi, is great. We love it, but of course it has the ads, and so it's like
Well, it has the ads if you don't have an ad blocker. Or
I do have an ad blocker, but it won't play the fucking movie unless I turn off my ad blocker. So I have to watch
gotta
it
get a
through.
better ad blocker, friend.
Anyway,
I didn't have ads on Tubi on this.
whatever. Anyway,
Anyway, no, sorry. What were your
so
ads?
imagine me watching this movie. You get the fucking dog scene. You get Bubba holding the Bloody Mary Lee in his arms after she's attacked by the dog. And he, in a painful voice, says, "I didn't do it," and
He
her
says he says
mother's
he says Bubba didn't do it.
Bubba didn't do it.
You have
And
to
then
remember.
you cut to an ad that's twice as loud as the movie itself about sports gambling, followed by an ad about scratch offs. Then you go back to the movie where Charles Durning and the other guys set out to kill Bubba, and it's like, what fucking dissonance that is. Like, God, I love American advertising. I mean, it's
You
probably
love
not
to see
unique to
it.
Americans, but still.
No, it's pretty. Yeah. Apparently there was a sequel to this in 2022
There
that was
was,
direct to video.
unfortunately, we can't cover it. How terrible.
Yeah, direct to video. Um, this
Uh,
can't be true, but IMDb credits Ray Bradbury as a writer, which it must just be an adaptation of a different Ray Bradbury thing
yeah,
that they
like
just sort of like backwards put. Because like this original movie is not based on anything.
no.
And Bradbury had been dead for 10 years at that point, so I don't know why that's credited
Yeah,
to
there
Ray
there must
Bradbury.
be some Ray Bradbury story about a scarecrow that they stole
Yeah.
from.
There's not even like anyone interesting in this sequel to like, although there is a guy called Tim Gooch. So you
Oh,
got
that's
that.
fun.
You got Tim Gooch in your movie.
Just gooching it up over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I found the Charles Durning movie I was thinking about where he dances and
Yes.
so it's him and Maureen Stapleton, and that
Oh
was the
yeah.
big name. And so I just want to read the plot description real quick.
Well, real quick though. Charles Durning and Maureen Stapleton, two actors you have talked about with me on Lone Acting Nominees.
So that's so fun. Oh my God. Anyway, that was a genuinely good fact, but it's like I also want to go to the plot
No, yeah,
description.
no, I had nothing else to add to that. I just it came to mind and I wanted to mention it before we moved on.
I'm glad that came to mind like so quickly. Like you just it's like oh connection. That's fun.
There you go.
Anyway, a middle-aged woman finds herself simply a widow, a grandmother, and a person when a friend takes her to the Stardust Ballroom, a dance hall which recreates the music and atmosphere of the 1940s. There she encounters a most unlikely Prince Charming, a, a middle-aged mailman.
Hey,
With
he's a mailman again.
with this encounter, life takes on a new meaning for the film's heroine. And it's like, oh God, I hope it's not the same mailman we know.
Oh
Apparently
no.
his character's name is Al Green, which is also fun. Um,
Hey, there you go.
but yeah, Queen of the
Um,
Stardust Ballroom.
that there you go. That sounds fun.
It does sound
Um,
really fun. Sounds really cute.
yeah. I mean, I like both of them a lot, and it'd be nice to see Durning dancing.
Dirty Dancing.
Dur-
Dancing Durnin.
Durning Dancing, the sequel to Dirty Dancing, where it's about Charles Durning. I'm
God
on a
damn
fucking
it.
roll tonight, baby.
That, you've won me back with that one. That was a good one.
Durning Dancing. That's nothing. That's
That's no,
I'm
that's
gonna
so good though.
thank you.
Like I just imagining Patrick Swayze lifting up Charles Durning.
Yeah. Oh, I was picturing it the other way. I also realized I was picturing Footloose when I said that. But no, Durning Dancing. Yeah. Charles Durning as the Jennifer Grey role. Hell yeah. Um one
Nobody
other
puts
thing.
Durning in a corner.
Exactly. One other thing, going back to our favorite IMDb trivia, under spoilers, which yeah, it is a spoiler, but it's just not trivia. Uh, in an interesting coincidence, Lane Smith's character is the first of the four men to die in the film, and in real life, Lane Smith was the first of the four actors portraying the vigilantes to die.
Okay.
That's not trivia. That's nothing. I'm sorry.
It, it's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. This IMDb trivia is, as usual, mostly nothing.
Yeah. Oh, the nocturnal scenes were shot not were shot night for night. That's
Wow. So
kind
they
of
were
cool.
shot at night. The night scenes were shot at nighttime.
Well, I
Good
mean,
to know.
for like a lower budget movie like this, you would probably expect it to be day for night, and it makes those scenes all the more eerie. Like the scene where he's where Philby is out on the field, like that night. I mean, it's called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. You want to have Scarecrow, but you also want to have Dark Night, and you have Dark Night.
Dark Knight and Dark Man.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of movies with Dark Knight and Scarecrow,
Oh,
family.
well, yeah, okay. Because I was about to say it's like, well, Dark Knight's the next one, but it's like he's still the Dark Knight even
He,
when the movie's not called Dark Knight.
and Scarecrow is also in that one very briefly.
Is he?
Yeah,
When?
he's in the parking lot, parking garage doing the trade off. The I don't wear hockey pants. Scarecrow.
Oh,
He like gets out of the car in the Scarecrow mask very briefly. It's just sort of like a throwaway cameo to be like, hey,
okay.
Scarecrow's still out there doing his stuff. Don't we love that little scamp? Don't we love that little Scarecrow?
Scamp Crow.
Scamp Crow. Um, is there anything else we want to say
Let
here
let me
about
do a quick look.
Dark Knight of the
Uh,
Scarecrow?
during the opening scene where it's Bubba and Mary Lee, and when it just cuts out of nowhere to Charles Durning peeking from the crowd from the trees or whatever, I chortled. I was just like, what the fuck is he doing there? It took me off guard. Funny
Yeah.
moment, but then as you also mentioned, kind of creepy, and it as we said, it bleeds into other aspects of the movie.
Yeah. I also really love the shot, speaking of, where he's outside the Halloween party and he's behind the little skull deco
Hmm.
on the window. And then is that what you were just is that the one you just
Oh
mentioned?
no, I wasn't
Okay.
about to say anything. I
I was like, oh God, did I just like mishear what did she just say that exact same thing and then I just like said it again? But no,
no,
I like that little shot. A lot of creeping around things.
yeah, I think yeah, that was my last note I had. I am out. I
Yeah.
didn't even prepare a game or anything. So I
Yeah,
was thinking
I
of
didn't either.
I was thinking of like ways I could like fuck I forget what it even was, but it's like maybe just like name fucking Charles during movies or whatever. I don't know. I didn't think
Sometimes
too
you
hard.
gotta. Yeah. I mean, we had a good enough time here. We had a good
We had a good
list.
few weeks of games and we this has been a pretty decently length episode on its own.
Yeah. Almost an hour, which, I'm glad to, I mean, I had a lot of stuff I wanted to say about this movie, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, this was like it was so funny like when this movie first started and we were suffering through the Bubba scenes. It was just like, oh God, I can't believe I picked this movie. Can't believe both of my picks were bad movies when I only wanted one of them to be. And it's like, but then it quickly turned itself around. And it's like,
Turns
okay,
right back around.
it
It's
turns back.
actually a good movie.
It it wants you to think it's a bad movie, but then it's like, nope, haha, fuck you. I'm actually good, bitch. You
Damn
know?
right.
That's what all the movies say to me, actually. They always call me a bitch and I don't like it, but they just
That's
keep
not
giving me
very nice. I don't like that. That's not nice of movies.
yeah, especially like it hurt most of all when Drew Barrymore from Babes in Toyland said it because I trusted her.
Yeah, but at least that was like a kid saying it. It's always fun when kids curse.
True. Though it felt like normal when Gia said it. Like it's just like, oh, that's just
Yeah,
Gia. Like
that's just Gia.
it's endearing when she said it.
That's just my friend Gia.
That's my best friend Gia.
It was weird when they had the Langoliers themselves say it. Their only line in the movie.
No, all the entire cast of that movie came up one by one to say it, including
Oh
the
wow.
Langoliers. It's just like, and it's like Mr. Toomey. It's like felt weird, but also kind of laughed at it. It's same with fucking Dinah. But then at a certain point, it's
Wow,
just.
I'm surprised you remember character names. I mean, I remember
I
Craig
mean,
Toomey, but
those two are the big ones. I don't remember the fucking pilot's name. I don't remember.
true.
Uh,
Dinah's the kid?
yeah, Dennis the
Okay.
kid, the psychic kid.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember fucking Dean Stockwell's writer character's
Oh,
name
Stephen
either.
King.
Oh yeah, I know that,
No,
but
his name is just Stephen King.
it's not.
It
It's
is.
William Shatner. Fuck you.
No, it's
Uh,
Stephen King.
anyway,
No,
I but yeah, it felt weird when he was saying it. It felt weirdly okay when David Letterman called me a bitch.
fair. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
Is that where we end this episode?
I think it is where we end this episode. Come back next week for the
A
the
second helping of Durning
part deux to our double dose of Durning.
with
Uh,
when a stranger calls back,
yes, more horror, more uh, uh, Durning, I guess was the other thing I had
and
to say there.
and
More
we'll
Charles Durning running. He there's
sure.
he there's I mean, it's he's got a good run. He runs a lot in When a Stranger Calls, the original. So I'm hoping to have a lot more of Charles Durning just running around the city in When a Stranger Calls back.
And well, we'll see if I actually end up watching When a Stranger Calls, or if I decide to go and like
Go right to the sequel.
just go bareback into When a Stranger Calls back and see so get that dichotomy. Like you've seen the first one, I haven't. Let's see how that changes our opinion. You know, might be fun. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Uh,
Bye.
bye.